You trust me, baby, my husband whispered as his parents slid a contract across the table, demanding I sign over everything I owned. I smiled calmly. Then you won't mind what I've prepared for you. That's when my lawyer walked through the door. Let me take you back 6 years. Chicago, late 20s, completely obsessed with my career. Real estate was my game, flipping houses, smart investments, building something solid for myself. Nothing flashy, but secure. Then I met Kenji. This man had ** present star. Designer suits, latest gadgets, expensive taste in everything. His parents, Hiroshi and Akiko, were the same, old money energy, massive house filled with antiques and family portraits. They carried themselves like royalty, but something felt off. I'd worked with wealthy clients before. This was different. They dropped these weird comments like "you're so lucky to join our family and a woman like you must be thrilled by the security we offer." Why did they assume I was desperate? Kenji had his own red flags. He'd borrow money and forget to pay it back. Once suggested I put my name on a property he wanted, for tax reasons. I shut that down immediately, but I ignored the warning signs. Love makes you stupid, right? 2 years into our marriage, Hiroshi and Akiko invited us for dinner. Nothing unusual. They love their fancy gatherings with expensive wine and endless talk about legacy. But that night felt different. The tension was suffocating. Kenji looked excited. Akiko was practically glowing, and Hiroshi, usually stone-faced, wore this satisfied smirk. Halfway through dinner, Hiroshi cleared his throat and slammed down a stack of papers. "We've been thinking about the future," Akiko said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "What's best for our family?" I glanced at Kenji. He was watching my every move. "We need to guarantee stability," Hiroshi added, sliding a pen toward me. "This contract pools our resources. One united financial entity." I grabbed the first page and scanned it. They wanted * everything star. My savings, investments, real estate, even my checking accounts, all transferred into a family trust under their complete control. My stomach dropped. "It's just a formality, babe," Kenji said smoothly, flashing that confident smile. "You trust me, don't you?" Something inside me snapped. I leaned back, took a deep breath, and smiled. "Then you'll love what's in my safety deposit box." Dead silence. Kenji's grin vanished. Akiko's knuckles went white around her wine glass. Hiroshi's jaw clenched. Their arrogance was crumbling. They expected shock, maybe even gratitude, not defiance. "What's in the box?" Kenji asked, his voice tight. "Oh, just some paperwork," I said casually. "Certain documents. A little something I prepared before we got married, for protection." The silence grew heavier. Then, like perfect timing, the butler entered. Your lawyer is here." I wish I could have recorded their faces. Kenji went pale. Akiko looked like she'd swallowed poison. Hiroshi just stayed, gripping that contract like his life depended on it. My lawyer Yuki walked in, setting her briefcase on the table. "Good evening. I'm told there's a contract my client is supposed to sign." Akiko recovered first. "This is a private family matter. No need for lawyers." Yuki ignored her, flipping through the contract pages. Then she laughed. "Wow, this is blatant financial manipulation." Kenji shifted uncomfortably. "It's not like that, Dash." "Actually, it is." Yuki cut him off, looking at me. "If you sign this, they'd have total control over your assets. They could drain your accounts, sell everything, and you'd be powerless to stop them." Akiko's face flushed. "It's about trust." "Right," Yuki replied flatly. "That explains why they have full withdrawal rights and power to sell properties, while my client can't access her own money without their permission." She smiled at me. "Hannah, it's fortunate you have a lawyer who reads fine print." Kenji shot up from his chair. "Why are you doing this?" "Why am I doing this?" I repeated, my voice calm but deadly. "You just tried to rob me of everything I own." Akiko's voice turned sickeningly sweet. "Honey, this is just a misunderstanding." "No," I said coolly. "It isn't." I stood to leave. That's when Kenji grabbed my wrist, firm enough to threaten. His smirk was gone, replaced by ice-cold rage. "Don't do this. You really don't want to make enemies in this family. Enemies? I repeated, yanking my hand free. I looked him dead in the eye. That's exactly what you've made me. Akiko shifted tactics, letting out this dramatic laugh and clutching her chest like a soap opera star. Darling, you're blowing this out of proportion. We only wanted to keep you safe. Money slips away so easily. Safe? I asked. Safe from what? Myself. Yuki folded her arms. If that were true, why structure the trust so my client has zero control over her own money? Hiroshi finally spoke, losing patience. This has become unnecessary. Let's proceed like adults. I nearly laughed. Like adults? You mean the kind who try to swindle their own family? His expression darkened, but I wasn't backing down. Their desperation was obvious. They thought I'd be too emotional to think straight. They'd badly underestimated me. That's when Akiko dropped her bombshell. I suppose this means you have no interest in the inheritance either. My head snapped toward her. Inheritance? Kenji shot his mother a warning look, but she pressed on. Oh, did Kenji forget to mention his grandfather's estate in Rhode Island? The real family fortune. I felt Yuki's eyes on me. We both realized the truth. This wasn't just about my money. The estate's in probate, Akiko continued. Soon we'll have full control. But if you're going to be difficult... She let the threat hang. She was dangling this carrot, expecting me to jump at more wealth. But all I saw was a family skilled at taking what didn't belong to them. And Kenji had known all along but never said a word. Were you ever going to tell me? I asked him. He ran his hands through his hair. I was waiting for the right time. Better for who? He said nothing. We both knew the truth. We left without saying goodbye. In the car, Yuki massaged her temples. You realize what's happening, don't you? Yeah, I murmured. They're not just after my money. Exactly. If that Rhode Island estate is as big as they claim, they'll do whatever it takes to stay in control. I stared out the window, wheels turning. What are the odds Kenji's drowning in debt? Yuki shot me a pointed look. You think he's hiding something? I'm sure of it. Looking back, it all made sense. The flashy lifestyle, designer clothes, bragging about money but rarely paying bills himself. If he was drowning in debt, this wasn't just about controlling me. It was his Hail Mary. The next morning, I hired a private investigator. I wanted everything: credit history, debts, past dealings, all of it. What came back was worse than I'd imagined. Kenji was in massive debt. Max credit cards, personal loans, and, get this, a business loan he'd secretly taken out in my name star. I confronted him that evening. How long have you been stealing from me? He blinked. What are you talking about? I threw the evidence at him. You took out a loan using my name. You've been swimming in debt, lying to me, expecting me to sign over everything to fix your problems. For once, he didn't deny it. Instead, he did something worse. He laughed. A bitter, hollow laugh. You were always so careful, he sneered. I thought eventually you'd understand we needed to be practical, but you just don't get it. My heart pounded. So you planned this all along? He stared at me, his face unreadable. You have no idea what you've started. I stepped back, adrenaline surging. Are you threatening me? He didn't reply. Just gave me one cold glare, grabbed his coat, and slammed the door. I stood there, fists clenched, more furious than afraid. If he thought it was over, he was dead wrong. That night, I barely slept. Every suspicious moment, every lie, every manipulation, it all clicked into place. By morning, my phone buzzed. Yuki, you need to come to my office immediately. I didn't ask why. When I arrived, she had a file waiting. You're not going to like this. I opened it and my stomach dropped. There was another woman. Actually, two. Imiko and Mai. Kenji's been lying about more than money, Yuki said quietly, showing me photos. Both women were stunning, both younger than me. Imiko was 2 years ago. He promised her engagement, took out loans in her name, emptied her savings, then disappeared. I felt sick. And Mai? Yuki shook her head sadly. Last year's target. Same pattern, but he never properly ended things. He's still involved with her. Engaged, actually. His engaged. My voice sounded distant. He proposed to Mai, told her they'd be married in 6 weeks. My mouth went dry. So my husband was engaged to someone else while married to me, conning both of us. Then I realized that Rhode Island inheritance required him to be married to unlock it. That explained his desperation to keep me legally bound while lining up my replacement. This wasn't just about my money. It was a bigger, twisted plan. I had to meet Mai. Yuki arranged a discreet coffee meeting. The moment Mai arrived, I felt sorry for her. She radiated happiness, excited about her upcoming marriage. She had no clue she was engaged to a fraudster. How do you know him? She asked suspiciously when I mentioned Kenji's name. I placed my wedding ring on the table. Because he's my husband. Mai's reaction was devastating. Shock spread across her face. That's impossible. I'm afraid it's not. Her trembling fingers reached into her bag, pulling out her engagement ring to place beside mine. 2 identical rings, side by side. She began crying then, recounting her story. Kenji had told her about the inheritance, but he had to be married to receive it. He promised they'd move to Europe and start fresh. He'd already convinced her to hand over her savings. My hands balled into fists. Are you still talking to him? Wiping her tears, she nodded. He's taking me to meet his parents this weekend. I exhaled. Perfect. Let's crash that party. Mai agreed to play along, continuing to text Kenji while feigning ignorance. Meanwhile, I dug deeper. A forensic accountant found an offshore account tied to Kenji, a secret stash for funneling stolen money. The debt I discovered was just the tip of the iceberg. I also investigated his parents. That Rhode Island property. They had no legal rights to it yet. The probate process was complicated. They needed a stable eye with a valid marriage to gain control. Kenji was their pawn. But now I had ammunition to destroy everything. The evening of the family dinner arrived. Kenji thought he'd be introducing his naive fiancée to his gracious parents. Instead, he was walking into hell. Mai and I arrived together. I walked in first, finding Hiroshi and Akiko at their lavish table, sipping wine like royalty. Akiko's face soured the instant she saw me. What are you doing here? I smiled sweetly. You think I'd miss a family affair? Right on cue, Kenji entered with Mai on his arm. He froze mid-step, color draining from his face as he saw me, then Mai beside me. Panic flickered in his eyes. Babe, he said to Mai, struggling for composure. Why is she here? Mai crossed her arms. You tell me. Heavy pause. Akiko stood abruptly. I will not have this spectacle at my dinner table. I chuckled. Oh, you should pay very close attention. I glanced at Yuki waiting by the doorway. Want to begin? Yuki stepped forward, opening her folder. Let's start with the fraud. Then we'll discuss the bigamy. The room erupted. Akiko let out a horrified gasp. Hiroshi slammed his glass, splashing wine everywhere. Mai held her engagement ring at Kenji. And Kenji just stared at me with pure hatred, realizing his careful facade was destroyed. A heavy silence followed, charged with disaster. Kenji gripped the table edge until his knuckles went white. Akiko's face contorted with rage, lips moving like she wanted to scream. Hiroshi stared blankly as the weight of their schemes crashed down. Fraud! Akiko spat, finding her voice. Where did you get these absurd accusations? Yuki calmly laid a thick file on the table. The evidence is all here. Bank statements, loan forms, forged signatures, and proof that Kenji secured a business loan using his wife's name without consent. That alone is a felony. Kenji jolted like he'd been struck. Akiko pounded the table. This is private family business. No, I said firmly. It stopped being family business when you tried to rob me. Now it's legal. Mai's voice trembled with anger. What about the bigamy, Kenji? I thought I was engaged to a single man, not some lying, married con artist. Kenji slowly stood, chair legs scraping. Mai, I can explain. She laughed bitterly. Please do. His eyes darted around like he was looking for an exit. Yes, I was involved with you while technically married, but it wasn't what you think. My marriage to her was over long ago. He gestured toward me without looking. We were just handling final details. I snorted. You were so done with me that you tried to steal my entire net worth? Sounds pretty active to me. I faced him, eyes narrowed. Everything you said, was it all lies? The plans, the dreams, the wedding, everything. For a split second, something flickered across Kenji's face. Maybe regret, maybe panic. I meant it, he said. I wanted that future with you. While married to someone else. I shot back, voice thick with disgust. He had no comeback. Akiko swung her glare to me. You orchestrated this ambush. You're trying to ruin us. I actually laughed. Ruin you? You did that yourselves. I just collected the evidence. Kenji had been too quiet. Suddenly, he exploded. You think you've won. His words sliced through the air, low and threatening. Everyone turned to face him. He aimed his fury at me. You act innocent, but you loved having power all along. You enjoyed controlling the money, making me beg for everything. I raised my eyebrows. Funny way of describing me protecting my finances from a chronic liar. His face tightened. You never trusted me. You never gave me reason to. He slammed his fist on the table, rattling everything. I was your husband. You were supposed to stand by me, not betray me like this. I backed away, shaken by his outburst. Akiko looked mortified. For the first time that night, Hiroshi spoke. Sit down, he commanded in a low, dangerous tone. Kenji's nostrils flared, but he eventually lowered back into his chair. Yuki cleared her throat, flipping methodically through papers. Since tempers are high, let me be direct. She held up one page. Mai has reported the money you swindled from her. That's fraud. Kenji's fists clenched. Second, Yuki continued, the forged signatures for that business loan in your wife's name have also been reported. Another criminal charge. Akiko's mouth fell open. You involved police. I nodded, eyes on Kenji. You thought I'd just let you walk away. His hands trembled. Yuki went on, unaffected. Third, about that Rhode Island estate you were counting on for bailout money. The probate court knows about your family's extensive debts. Hiroshi jerked upright. What debts? With a cryptic smile, Yuki replied, You didn't know? Your assets are frozen. Stunned silence. Akiko lost whatever color remained in her face. No, that can't be. I'm afraid it is, Yuki said, clicking her pen. The real motive behind pressuring my client to merge assets was bailing you out of significant financial trouble. Akiko rocketed to her feet. Lies! But her shaking voice betrayed her. She knew it was true. They all did. Desperate, Akiko whirled on Kenji. You fool. All you had to do was secure this arrangement. Now we're finished. He grimaced. Don't pin this on me. This was your plan too. You were supposed to execute it. She spat back. Hiroshi massaged his temples, looking like he'd aged a decade in an hour. I glared at Kenji, trembling. I want him in handcuffs. Don't worry, I told her. It's happening. Kenji whipped around to face me. You wouldn't. I met his gaze without flinching. Watch me. That's when sirens wailed outside. Kenji was arrested that night, charged with fraud, identity theft, and bigamy. Plenty to keep him locked up. His parents lost their precious estate to foreclosure within months. Mai and I met for drinks the next day, clinking glasses in celebration. Some people say revenge is pointless, that it doesn't solve anything. But for us, exposing them all was absolutely worth it. Because sometimes when people try to crush you, the most satisfying victory is making sure their downfall is even greater than what they planned for you.